Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for March 9th of 2025 is titled Cyclones at Jupiter's North Pole. So what do we see here? Well, here we see an image from the Juno spacecraft looking at the north polar region of Jupiter. And we can see a number of storms there. And in fact, we can see in this case 8 storms around the central portion or the central part of the pole. Now, interestingly, when we look at the other pole, we see just 5 of these storms around the pole instead of the 8 we see in the north. So it'll be interesting as to find out why they are different. We do see a difference in size. Those at the northern pole are smaller, but we have 8 of them. The ones at the southern pole are larger, but there are only 5 of them. So trying to better understand those storms will give us a better look into how things work within Jupiter's atmosphere. Now, we also look at storms around Saturn. And in fact, we find that Saturn has only a single storm at each pole. So there are differences even just between the 2 giant planets when we look at them at their polar regions. Now, this one done by the Juno spacecraft, and it might not look like Jupiter as we're used to seeing it. We're looking at in the infrared. So this is infrared imaging, trying to better highlight the storms so that they can be studied and we can learn more about Jupiter. Now, this is an older image taken in 2018, but does give us some of the earliest details we had about Jupiter's North Pole. Now, we know that storms exist all over the planet, but the polar regions are a little harder to study because we generally enter the planets and visit them with an equatorial orbit, meaning we see the equatorial regions and much of the planet very well, but we don't get a good view of the polar regions. And in this case, Juno spacecraft is actually in a polar orbit, which allows it to go over the north and south poles and give us a more detailed view of those regions of Jupiter. So that allows us to study these and to study them over a period of time as the craft goes around in its orbits, and let us look at them and see how they are changing and hopefully better understand these features of Jupiter. Now, as I said, we see storms elsewhere. We've already talked about storms on Saturn, but we also see them on the other planets, other large planets in the solar system. And of course, we have our own storms here on Earth. Of course, they will be incredibly tiny by comparison. Remember how much larger Jupiter is. Some of the large storms on Jupiter, such as the Great Red Spot, are actually bigger than Earth. So many of them are significantly bigger and make little hurricanes or typhoons here on Earth seem incredibly small by comparison. So that was our picture of the day for March 9th of 2025. It was titled Cyclones at Jupiter's North Pole. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be California red. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.